in the chamber, pressure gets colder. Resla walks in, truth right in his shoulder. Here for the shift, tear the mask off pretenders. Beat drop, he's a fucking monster. Cuts through the noise, pulls the lies into daylight. Every move calculated, every word's a fist fight. Building new code, stacking bricks for the future. Turning midlife to gold, cut the chains like a suture. Keeps time as a weapon, each tick is a death note. Lights up the skyline, watch the whole city take note. Not chasing the fame, here to freeze what's molten. Break open the silence, keep the truth ice coated. No clock to punch in, he's the one who dictates. Every second's a fuse, watch the skyline detonate. Eyes closed, living from the sideline. No talking, I'ma do it, bitch, it's my time. Everything swerving, driving off of my tie. But I'm cool as can be, look at my eyes. These some pictures you can put up on your timeline. More vivid than the NYC skyline. Some crazy shit you can't imagine, only I find. You just coming for a trip inside my mind. The street lights hum when the night's in my grip. Voices fade out, but the truth never slips. Shadows on the wall, dance slow and divide.
What's good, people? Oh man, it's been a while. I'm just gonna sneak in here. I'm sneaking in here. Not normally used to this time. Not normally used to. Well, actually, I've been off for a while. That's been pretty good as well. Yeah. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon to those who are around, to those who are not, and to those who could be joining in later. What is going on? I am your guy, Resla, and I've been gone for a minute. There was a good reason for it. And we're gonna just run with that. Oh, I see Locksmith Jeremy was also in here. I say, hey, Robbie was in here as well. I said, love the thumbnail. I appreciate that. It's a bit old though. I ain't gonna lie. It's an old thumbnail. Outside of that, it's been a very interesting moment. I have been back, I have been forth, I've been in, I've been out, and I'm just now getting situated back to life. Life has been very lifing, let's put it that way, over the last few weeks. And I needed to take a break from not just the internet, even though I just kind of been watching, kind of here back and forth, but also just the idea of content. Something you just need a break. I have been going through this idea of basically having a mental creative block, even just trying to come up with what I really want to go through, and even having the motivation to go about looking for things was very difficult for a while. And then of course I had real life stuff that I had to factor in as well. And I realized it was all due to me trying to do too much at once. So I just cold hard cut something off, and it turned out to just have to be content. And I focused on a lot of stuff and tried to get a lot of things out the way. And once it was done, and I felt that pressure finally whisk away, I was like, I think it's good to start getting back into the paces again. So here I am, getting into it, trying to talk what's going on, and we'll see where it goes on from there. It's been an interesting little run. I can't believe it's almost been like 3 weeks. That's the crazy part. Oh, quick little update. You probably guys already heard it on the OG Do 30 side of the game, but the DBD is going on a break right now, and we will bring it back whenever we're gonna bring it back. It could be as early as April. It might even go to May. I don't know. There's a lot of stuff going on in the background that needs to be worked on both my side as well as OG. So that's why you guys for the last couple of weeks, couple of weeks that you guys have not gotten the DBD. That's the reason why. Will there be anything filling in those spots? Will there be other breaks, other stuff? I couldn't really tell you guys. OG's got his other stuff going on. He's got his other platforms going on. I have been on an extended break. You could put it that way. So will I be ramping up content, or will I be jumping on this stuff? Time will tell. But I do know that your boy is back. So I will be doing some more streams as we go. We might have to start figuring out an actual schedule, because I'm finding that my time is something I really need to manage now, and we're running from there. To today's kind of topic though, right? Because I'm having conversation with with people over the last couple of days. And I know a lot of people get into like tax season and things like that. So I started writing some things down as to uh people, and again, a lot of us are like this, who have a lifestyle of being on a paycheck to paycheck lifestyle. And a lot of people have different reasons as to why they are paycheck to paycheck. So I wrote down a whole bunch of stuff over the last few days as to makes what has people in this. And it's not really like you should do this, you should do that, but I think a lot of people are running into this. There's a trap. There is a system in place, and I think that at least if I mention a few things, then maybe kind of sorta, but not really, maybe that someone will be able to figure out something that actually will work out well for them. I'm not saying it's going to be clean, but I think it's something that we should think about. We should have a conversation about it. Let's just put it that way. So the first thing is that I want to talk about it being paycheck to paycheck. Let's see. And this again, I have a little bit of stuff that I've been writing, so it looks kind of messy. But at the same time, I'm just kind of going out of my off the cuff when it comes to this. Yo, what's going on, Losman? Appreciate you being here in the building. Let's see. Let's see. Let me pull this to the side so I got you guys in this window. And then I can be in this window over here. All right. So we're talking about paycheck to paycheck. For the most part, I think that a lot of people want to figure out the best life so that they can be able to live how they want to in fact live. You know, to say that the problem is it to say the problem in one breath is that people are just bad with money is not really the thing. Yes, there are some people that are bad with money, but I would say that's not the majority of people. Majority of people are just trying to figure out what is it they need to do with themselves, or they have obligations that other people don't. So there is the people who are paid, and there's the people who slack when it comes to payment. And I've been really trying to figure out how is it that we are going to be looking at ourselves when it comes to um actual expenses, how we look at our lives, and also what's the framework of how we're supposed to be taking notice of what we're doing, and is that going to be beneficial in the future? Because there are some people that absolutely just go, hey, screw it, I'm gonna just live how I'm gonna live it, and let the chips be where it may. I don't i don't necessarily have a problem if that's the kind of life that you chose for yourself. It's not a whether I approve or disapprove kind of thing. I think a lot of people are just they're going through the motions. They're coasting, and they finding themselves consistently on repeat. You said audio levels are perfect screenshots. Okay, all right. Uh, so there is that. So let me first just start about what this stream is not. It is not a stream on financial advice. It is not a sermon as to what's wrong with you guys and what you guys should be doing. Yada yada yada. It's not that. I think we need to have an actual target as to those who are slacking, and then those who are actually exposed versus those who are exposed, but nothing else from the difference of that. So there's not this whole account hit zeros thing that happened for some people. So first of all, I want to define at least as properly as I can about living paycheck to paycheck, and I think a lot of us do that. And I think it's unfortunate, just the way how our system is set up right now. It's crazy the way how our system is set up, that it has us in a paycheck to paycheck rather mentality. You try everything you want to do. You save up money, and I'm talking about people who save up money. You save up money. You're paying bills. You have family members. Some of you guys have kids. Some of you guys don't. Some of you guys have a spouse. Yo, what's up? What's good, Stephanie? You guys have spouses, or you have family members that you're taking care of, or whatever the case may be. Everybody's life's a little different. Some of y'all people have your biggest expense is actually your pets. Believe it or not, believe it or not. And I don't really understand that, but it happens to be a thing that I notice that happens a lot. Logical, what's going on? And you'd be surprised what are the expenses that tend to break people from month to month. Actually, let me get my chat out there so I can see it. Uh, it's been a while, guys. Give me says Sparky. Damn. Okay. You got dubbed Sparky. All right. So I'm thinking about this whole thing. I have this all scattered all over the place. I really should have put this all into like one big thing so I could really have a conversation about it. So most people, I would say that most people think paycheck to paycheck means I hit rock bottom. I'm hitting zero. Um, that's not it though. That's not the take that I look at it from. To me, it means that you just don't have, you know, it means you have no slack. Let me put it that way. You want breathing room. You want slack to be able to maneuver around. And to me, if you have no slack, you're not just budgeting. You're basically praying that nothing ever happens. You're not ready for an unexpected bill or an incident or something or an opportunity. You're not ready for it. And that's why two people can look at the word responsible and still feel like they're one email away from a whole panic attack. And I think that's something that a lot of people need to really consider because I think a lot of people are there at that point of life. I think a lot of people are sitting there. They were sitting at there last year. They were sitting at there the year before then, and they're going into 2026, already February now, and they're still sitting in that spot. This is something that I think, as individuals, we need to all take this into account. Where exactly are we on this spectrum? Because I don't think a lot of people really take the time to really notice it, or they're just hoping that they keep their head down, that eventually it'll all go away. And I don't see that being the case. Hoping to keep your head down is not going to be the thing that helps save you at the end of the day. I'm just going to keep it a buck. It is what it is. Now, let me just put it out there cleanly what it is and what it isn't. If if your life breaks when basically your car breaks, a lot of people go through that. If you're paycheck to paycheck, it's gonna put it out there. Even if you technically say that you pay all of your bills all on time, that's part of the whole process, isn't it? That's the part that people tend to skip. The bills might be paid, sure, but your stability is not there because you're still budgeting. You can't really say go to hang out with friends. You can't really buy something for yourself or for that person that you love, or you can't do it. You're not behind, but rather your mobility, your freedom is exposed. It's exposed. Robbie, what's going on? And this is something that people need to really take it to account. And I think a lot of people, depending on where you look at it, because everybody has different kind of lifestyles, right? This is where we get into the whole spenders and savers. Some people are just like, screw it. You get the culture of YOLO. This even mean I'm going to spend all my money and do whatever because, quite frankly, you'll only live once. And while I kind of get that, it's still a dangerous place to be because you're not even trying to bet on your future. And by the way, I got a big thing against this kind of thing as well because you want to you want to try to do something in the moment, but you also want to bet on your future. But the one thing that we also know and we also don't want to say is that the future is not guaranteed to you. Let's be honest. How many of us are racking up on our insurance, racking up on good insurance and trying to save in a 401 or 401k or retirement or Roth or whatever? And the truth of the matter being that You're saving all this money for if you get old, and you're also not trying to answer the question that you know you do want to answer. Why am I saving up all this money as if I die, I'll never see it? And if you don't have a large family or you don't have any real family, is it going to really go to them? Are they really going to see it? How much is the government going to screw what I save out of it? What if it just gets sitting in the ether and there's a time limit that goes by and it just gets randomly funneled back into something else? There are so many conspiracies, but honestly, the conspiracies are not even far fetched. Well, if something happens to me, it's gonna go to, well, that depends, isn't it? It's not that cut and dry. Living trust is a must. I agree, but you'd be surprised how many people do not understand how to even establish one. The majority of folks in this world do not are not financially literate. Keep in mind, I'm gonna put my hand up there. And you just don't know what you don't know. But once you find out these things, you should look into it. And that's not to say you're gonna be a master. That's Here's the sad part about it. When you discover it, it doesn't even mean that you're gonna have the means to get it done. I wasn't a person who really started understanding about uh living trust until a few years back when I was in my late 30s and um I discovered a book called Killing Sacred Cows, and then the author Gunderson, I believe his name is, he created What Would the Rockefellers Do? And it wasn't until I was going through those books where I was like, shit, they had the cheat code a long time ago. That was the real premise on how you could say a building how they say it, not financial wealth, not how they call it, building basically the legacy, how did they call it? Damn, what's the terminology? I've been out of the internet for a while. Generational wealth. There you go. That's the term. Building generational wealth is the term, how they put it. And the Rockefellers did it in an astounding way. And even though they kind of made the blueprint, you can't find many families, many people who can actually do it. And the plays are still in effect for all of us. But a lot of people are just not financially savvy enough because even financial institutions, education, doesn't teach us what they did. And there's a reason for that. So what does it do? It leaves us in a state of either having what? Spenders versus savers. And both of them, by the way, they both can be trapped. Think about it for a moment. The spender, OG, what's going on? OG with the 5. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. The spender gets judged because spending is visible. Let's be honest. You don't know what you don't know what you're getting back until you spend money, and people don't really know what the value of what they're selling until they receive money, right? The spending is visible. This is why people also spend on things that make them look like they're rich because what? I got money. Let me show you what I spent. Who we're all old, we're all adults here. We're all old enough to understand this. How many of us can even just see as a cultural thing, a cultural framing? How many of us have seen this thing happen? You remember seeing the time where you could say, well, first of all, as a millennial, there was a time where even I was looking at my friends and I was like, you sound stupid as hell. Because there was this whole thing tied to wealth that, and maybe you guys know about this too. When we bought our sneakers or when we bought our fitteds, we would keep the receipt. And the reason for keeping the receipt was to show people how much we paid for it, not how much we saved, not how much we got it for cheap, but how much more money we spent on it. And somehow that was supposed to be a badge of honor. Like, look how much I spent on it. I spent more money on my shit that you got that's the same more than you did. And I would look at them and be like, you sound dumb as hell. And this is mainly something that I saw in a lot of Hispanic families, and I saw even in a lot of Black families. But I didn't see it in Asian families. Asian families, like, they love getting a deal. They loved getting a deal. They didn't talk about, man, yo, you see, I got my J's, man. I spent almost 200 on this. Yeah. Yeah? No, 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 no. That's not a thing to be celebrating. Now, keep in mind, I don't really see that mentality happening anymore. Thank God. But the spender's mentality is, in fact, still out there. It absolutely is. Because why? It's visible. Now we just see it in other things, in Louis and Birkins and Kellys and Balenciagas, Gucci. We still see it. We got to get a 911. We got to get Hellcats. We still see these things to this day. And easy research will show you that it's a terrible investment. Now the saver gets ignored because the struggle is quiet. But keep in mind, both of them can be stuck in the same financial trappings. The gap between what life costs and what life pays. That's just the truth. A lot of people don't want to think about it because they just say, that's just life. And a lot of people will say, that's fucked up. That life is like that. But instead of just defaulting and giving away that, and then also just complaining about it, we're not just trying to get into the mind frame of just talk, but rather think of your own situation. What actionable steps can you do for yourself? I can't tell you. All I can tell you is that when I look at both sides, one leaks money and the other bleeds it slowly, but you're gonna lose it regardless. You're gonna lose it. There's no if, ands, or buts about it. It's going away, like it or not. Even to those who thought that they can hide their freaking money in mattresses way back then, when that fire came up, where was your stuff at? Gone. How many people you saw in a house fire run out and they grabbed the mattress? I know I didn't. I never saw it. I'm one of those people that don't even like to go to bed naked. Because if a fire happens, I don't want to be caught outside butt naked for everybody to be looking around as my house has to get freaking thrown with water. And everybody's looking at me like, so Resla, you cold? I don't want that kind of situation taking place. It's just not for me. It's not for me. So we have to look at the difference in behaviors when it comes to the people, because you have the difference in behaviors, but you also have the same outcome and zero margins. And I also ask this for those who earn a paycheck, for anyone who's earning a paycheck, let me ask you this. Why is it you wouldn't invest a little bit, save a little bit for my savers out there, for my savers? Why aren't you saving a little bit to get yourself trained financially? Think about what I said. You're gonna bleed regardless. You're getting bled slowly. Stop worrying about the trips. Stop focusing on all that other stuff. One of the smartest things and yet devastating things that you can have happen to you is this. I'm gonna tell you this. And it's not even gonna be a terrible thing when you think about it, but you're gonna look at me like I'm crazy just for saying it. For my savers. Save a good amount of money. Save 6 grand. Let's just say that. Save 6 grand, save 8 grand. And instead of worrying about what trip you're about to go on, find someone who is a really good rep, who's a financial advisor. Someone who did all the work. They didn't just fall into the role. They weren't just good with money. They didn't get there through nepotism. Like they're certified or they're licensed. They know their shit. They got a degree. Do that first. Do your research on that first. And when you save up your PTO, because you're going to get paid when you take that time off, don't worry about a staycation. Don't do that. Don't even worry about, I would say, and this is a thought process. I'm not telling you what to do. It's a thought process because we're talking about investing in ourselves to do something bigger in the future. Because right now we're running on the strategy of we don't know what we don't know. And we can always change that by simply doing one thing first, building a strategy. We don't know what the outcome will be, but we do know this. Whatever the outcome is, it will be more knowledge than we had not taking it. So, how about this? Go find someone who's really good, who's been in their craft, who's been working on financial stuff for a while, and make a deal with them. Now, what kind of deal you're talking about? The reason why I'm suggesting this is because I did this with other frameworks in the early part of my life. And if I had any more money, I would still be implementing some of these frameworks. You find that person, find out their credentials, find out what their life is like by asking questions, finding out they're probably not going to tell you their exact ballpark of their net worth, but you can be able to gain a little bit off of it, right? And then do yourself this favor. Ask them if they are available to give you training. And you're going to ask them this. Hey, say the person's name is Bob. Hey, Bob. Noticing that you got it together, you're good in your finances, you're good in this, you're good in that. What did you do to get your skills? They're gonna give you their whole little resume. They did this, they went here, they've been working in the industry for this long, they're doing kind of okay. It's all about, they're gonna end up telling you the same things that I pretty much already said, like how people really struggle. And then you're gonna say, roughly, how much do you make a month? If a motherfucker telling you they're making like 15 grand, they're lying their ass off. They're most likely lying their ass off. So if they're saying, I want to say it's about 6 grand a month, well, you already know that you saved at least 8. And then you say, all right, cool. Think to yourself, I know I got PTO coming up. I got at least, a week or two that I can, and you make a deal with them. Hey, it takes you roughly an entire month to make that 6 grand that you make, right? Like, yeah, cool. I was wondering, could you train me in everything that you know within 2 weeks to make exactly how much you make in an entire month? You're going to tell me this person is not going to take that deal? You don't have to go to school. You don't have to spend years of your life. You don't have to earn a degree to become financially savvy. Now, I said it from the beginning. Wait, let me I said it again from the beginning. I know some of y'all are going,
wait, what?
I said it in the beginning. It was going to sound crazy to you to even suggest kind of a thing. But are you going to tell me that in 2 weeks of you intense studying with a person who's done all the work, spent all the hours, that's not going to be a benefit to you? Again, sounds crazy. You don't think that you would walk away with more information than you did if you just took that PTO and just sat on your ass or just spent it in Cancun and blew that entire money? Just some food for thought. It's just something to think about. Let's go, Hornet. I'm not saying it's perfect. I'm not saying it's ideal. I'm saying it's something to at least consider. Because some of you people will take that same money that you racked up, and you know what you're doing? You're going to Atlantic City. And you know you're not gonna win. So if you're going to at least spend your money, get something back from it. What do you guys think? What do you think of that? Because in life, what I realize is that a lot of us want guarantees. We want guarantees, but we don't give guarantees to ourselves. Tell me now, I just so I can hear it. Tell me who's the person that's going to hear exactly what I just said and be like, that sounds crazy. That is crazy. There's no way in hell I would ever do that. Because I could think about all the ways that I can blow my money on things that's not going to make a difference. And I won't even remember it. Maybe I might have the energy to put it on one of my phones because I took a couple of pictures. Versus I now have information, new information that I did not have before, and I can now make some actionable steps. If not in that same very year, preparing for the next year, because that information that I got may be one step closer to being financially free. Or the other way that we can look at it that can be a little bit downtrodden, to be honest with you. Because here's something that we also have to take a look at. And this is unfortunate, but it's true. Sometimes we can look at our lives and we can say, why is it that our family, our ancestors didn't put forth the financial literacy? I'm happy that you said that, Hornet. When they learned it, when it was more accessible to them, and build the way for my family to be something. And the truth of the matter is that they were still in the same race that you're in. The savers versus the spenders mentality. Just keeping it a buck. And nobody wanted to do the one thing that is going to be a very difficult thing to admit. That perhaps you're going to have to be that person who makes the ultimate sacrifice for their family, for their family's future. Most of us say, I want to experience wealth. I want to experience having a good and comfortable life. And because we aim for that thing so desperately, and most of the time not reaching it, that when we have children, if we had children, should we have children, we don't set them up. Sometimes it means that if you really want the best for your family, the best for your children, it means that you're going to have to be the one who does all the hard work, as Jeremy even highlighted, because it was very good that he noticed that, in building and establishing a system, a trust, so that your family will be better off due to your hard work. But most people don't want to do said work. They don't want to. They don't want to do it. Just going to keep it a buck. So a lot of people, it's too much. It's too much. It is too much for some reason. It is too much of a sacrifice to give up what they have for the very offspring that they put here to be tested. Think about that for a moment, folks. You put your children here on this earth. You want them to have a better life than you had. You've already sacrificed, or let's be honest, probably didn't sacrifice because most kids that are put in this world are oops babies. But either way, maybe you've come to love them and now you want better for them. You've already sacrificed, putting them through school and wiping their freaking noses and wiping their asses while they shit and spit and vomit all over you and everything. And now you're thinking, I don't want them to struggle. I don't want them to be begging someone else for an opportunity and a handout. I didn't have it because my parents didn't do it for me. Do I want them to go through the same thing I went through? Maybe I need to make a sacrifice. And I don't mean giving them the sacrifice that will be for them. Because here's the truth of the matter. You're good. And this is really bad, especially because a lot of us don't really have that kind of structure that's been put up. Here's the truth of the matter. You can't even focus on your children. You really have to focus on their children. You have to build up something that even your children won't be able to benefit from. You have to say, I'm doing this for my grandchildren. Because by the time your children are of age to be able to capitalize on all your good deeds, it's not going to be worth much. You have to have a system in place so that when your children's children become of age, it starts falling into place. Because you need the money to build up along your grandchildren's lifetime. If you are, say, a 30-year-old man, 36-year-old man, and your children are sitting around 15 or whatever, it's not enough time. By the time they're 30, it's not a lot of time. You need to have something set up so by the time they have children and by the time their children's around 30, woo, the money's big. And a system in place that can only loan out a portion of that money to those kids, with the system saying that there's a portion of it that has to get stayed in that trust for their children. And this is how it's the very beginning of beginning to build up generational wealth. This is what I learned, kind of just mushing it along the way, not really giving you the blueprint, but mushing along the way of what I read from the books. But this is not something that can be easily achieved with the spenders or savers mindset. Because we're trapped in a big, disgusting cycle. And I say we, because I'm a part of that. Now, what about the whole baseline stack of it all? Because the truth of the matter is that people keep attacking impulse buyers like somehow they're the villains. And keep in mind, it doesn't matter whether you are the quality person. Hey, I only buy quality goods. Fashion Nova, Balenciaga. What I go to Coachella. Versus those that do with fast fashion. I buy so much stuff from Target, from damn, I'm thinking about love American Eagle. 'Cause I can only think of Sydney Sweeney right now. What do you do with that? Buying more of something that's cheap is not necessarily helping you as well, but buying something some quality and you can't really pay for it is not a good thing. I'm not saying that I'm not saying that impulse shopping is a terrible thing, even though it can be a bad thing because it's not a good habit. But the fixed costs are the villains. It's not the people, it's the fixed costs that are the villains because they don't care how motivated you are. It needs to be this price and that's it. But guess what? Fixed costs are also things that we all have to deal with, like rent, because rent doesn't negotiate. Insurance doesn't care about how hard you're trying. When you're moving basically month to month, Fixed cost is a fixed cost. And you have to move in that budget, your budget, because that's just a list of part of your obligations. Oh, and by the way, speaking of obligations, the things that we get stuck on that are really the silent killers, the small things that we don't pay attention to. I'm talking about fees, uh, uh, fees, and subscriptions. Let's think about it right now, real quick, real quick. How many things little apps, little games, um, money managing stuff, little reviews, videos, subscriptions. How many subscriptions do you think you have? Keep it a buck. They seem cheap, but think of how many you actually have. Some of you guys might have Netflix. You don't know when's the last time you actually watched something on Netflix, but you don't really want to get rid of it because if you get rid of it, if you want to resubscribe to it, it's going to cost you more than the original price that you're already paying for right now. Some of you guys are paying for YouTube Premium. Guilty here. Some of you guys are paying for Hulu or paying for. Think about all your little stuff. Think about it. Everybody has a small charge problem that eventually will turn into a big problem. If it's not Netflix, it's some other little convenient tax, some little convenient fee, interest. How many of y'all are paying off your credit card balance to see that your interest is just as high as the balance you just paid at the minimum? Late charges, deliveries. Think about this. One time. This is why one of the big little apps that became so popular, I think, is like what's it called? It called Rocket Money, because the whole purpose of the app is to go into your bank and find all the small apps to remind you of all the ones that you're not using that you're still being charged for. I wish I had thought about that. Let me make an app to find what the hell? Let me go make an app to find all of your apps that you're being charged for that you forgot you even subscribed to. Genius. It's so small, and yet it was so smart. Sometimes the simplest thing is the thing that just takes off. Simplest idea. Because all this stuff isn't random. At some point, you thought it was going to be useful, and then you forgot about it because paying for it was so convenient. You went to saying, "Oh, it's only $2.99. I could spend $2.99. I'm not even going to think about it." Guess what? You stopped thinking about it for over a year, and over the time, their terms and conditions had changed, and that $2.99 turned into $9.99. $9.99. That's crazy. Well, you know what? It's $9.99 a month. Until you look back in a whole year and you're like, holy shit, I spent over $100 on what? The little things, the little problems can also become big problems. It's a system. It is a system that charges you for being busy, for being tired, and for being broke at the same time. What do we do about that? I'm mentioning things that, not for nothing, at one time or another, we have all been guilty of doing. I don't believe there's anyone right here, even in this chat right now, anyone who is watching, even on the replay, that we haven't been that person. Oh shit, I forgot I even subscribed to that. How many of you guys done this? Come on, tell the truth and shame the devil. How many of you guys subscribed to something because it was free? Said, I'll cancel it before the trial is up, and you forgot, and then you got charged for it. Tell the truth. Tell the truth. I would say that's been all of us. At one point or another, that has been all of us. And God forbid if that one little thing that we wanted to hold off was like not like $12 or something like that, but it was like 50, 100, $200. And we're like, it's the day of. I should really go and cancel this right now. And then you already see the pending charge sitting on your credit card. And worse, if you're really the person who's really not thinking about it, it's coming out of your freaking debit account. I've been guilty of these things. And I know you have also been guilty of these things. I don't know a single person who has not fallen prey to that. I don't know not one. And I get it. Some of us, we go, it was fast. It was cheap. We're talking about the quality, right? The quality, or I get more. It's quantity. I've been through this even with like women that I've dated, where they do fast fashion. They buy a whole bunch of shit, more shit that they can wear in an entire fucking week. And then you look at them later on, they got all these clothing they didn't even rewear, but somehow it's still falling apart. Like, how did you have your clothing fall apart on the hanger? How? Because no good quality. But but I I think of how many shoes I got. I buy 8 pairs of shoes, but you tell me all 8 pairs of shoes hurt your feet versus you buying one good pair or 2 good pairs of shoes and they feel amazing. Well, you know what? Oh, no, that's not true. Because if I still buy the same 18 pairs of shoes, 8 pairs, 7 pairs, 6 pairs, okay, wrestler, we'll go down to 4 pairs, 4 pairs, and I just buy insoles for them, it'll solve the problem. And then the insoles might work. I'm gonna be generous, maybe a month, about a month, and the insoles will outlast the shoes. The insoles have better quality than the shoes that you spent a crap ton of money on. Think about that. Now you're switching out insoles from shoe to shoe. You're switching out insoles, shoe to shoe to shoe to shoe to shoe to shoe. But your shoes are consistently in rotation. Hold on, let me do something because Nightbot is on my freaking nerves right now. I don't know what it's doing. That is wild. It is out of control. It is out of hand. You calm down for a moment. There we go. So what do we do about that? How do we manage those situations? It's really gonna have to come down to you at the end of the day. Same how it was in the beginning of the day, but it's really gonna have to come down to you and your expectations. And I can't tell you how many times and how many friends that I know that we keep repeating the same conversation about fast versus cheap. Because I'm kind of in between when it comes to it. I like good looking stuff if it's cheap looking, but I understand. I look at it and then I think of the style of it, and then I go look for something of quality. But it depends on how much I want to spend for quality. When people say stop buying cheap stuff, but quality, I mean, that advice kind of would assume that you have the funds for it. And I guess quality is cheaper over time, sure, but you still need that money up front. It's cheap and it's durable, but there's nobody I didn't know that didn't wear a pair of Reeboks, that those Reeboks didn't stink when they took their feet out of it. In at least a good month. In fact, I don't even know anybody that's wearing Reeboks anymore, Zoomer. I'm just going to keep it a buck with you. Even the old heads is wearing New Balance. I don't know anybody wearing Reeboks anymore. I don't know when's the last time I saw a pair of Reeboks. I can go to Foot Locker today. I don't think I'm going to see a pair of Reeboks. That's like telling me, you mentioning Reeboks is like you telling me you can find a pair of BKs, British Knights. They not around no more. And that works, especially if you don't worry about particular things, or if you really don't go anywhere, or Reebok clothes go hard. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. That's a little wild. I don't know about that. I never heard that statement before. Maybe feel hard. I don't know about they go hard. I don't know about that. That discussion about that Reebok clothing. That's crazy. But a lot of people are trying to figure out their money situations. I mean, so the poor end up paying more, not because they're dumb, but because they're locked out. They're locked out of bulk buying in the long-term options. Those people who like to tend and buy quality end up broke because they love the quality, but they also don't have the ability of versatility, because they don't have the money to have extra clothing, extra attire. So what again, what do we do about that? Because every one of us, if we're not that, every one of us are on one side of that, or one on the other side of that spectrum. We are either the people that buy a lot of quality, or we're the person that buy cheap and we buy quantity. It's good, no chaser. We are one or the other. But how do we put ourselves in a situation where saying it doesn't matter either way? Because wouldn't you rather be someone who has money but chooses to buy in bulk, or can have the choice in buying in quality, rather than you have to buy according to how much you actually have? I don't wish I had Balenciaga sneakers, but I will buy a pair of Louis. I won't buy Gucci, but I've seen some good Louis sneakers. I've seen a few good Louis sneakers. But Balenciagas, nah. Not for sneakers. I don't think I've really seen a good pair of Balenciaga sneakers. Shoes, yes. Sneakers, no. I'm thinking about it. I don't think I've ever seen a good pair of Balenciaga sneakers. They always been weird to me. I think about also I'm thinking about it now, just the aspect of spending. I'm thinking about random bills, the surprise bills that come up, because this is another reason why we sit so much in the trap, I would say. Think about all the real villains. These are real goddamn villains, by the way. The random bills: car repair, medical, family obligations, your hours get cut at work, rent hikes. How about this, folks? How about haircuts? Going to the hair salon, going to the nail salon, Why does it cost so much? Why does that have to cost so damn much? As if there's not other things that's going on in life so let me understand this. Either I can try to look decent so I don't look, because I have to go to work, right? I gotta go to work. So if I look like a freaking mess, I'll get thrown out because I don't look acceptable because I look like a homeless person at my job, and that's not good hygiene. But if I go and spend all this money to make sure that I look decent, I'm broke and I'm begging for overtime. You see the trap? You see the trap. The fact that you have to worry about going to work, but you're still trying to find time, especially if you're a person who like you do hard labor, you sweat and everything like so you go to work. Let's just not let's take the fact let's take hard labor out of it. It's summertime. It's summertime. You are sweating. Whether you're outside job or inside job, let's be honest, you could be sitting in the cubicle, you can still wind up sweating. It's summertime. It is, I'm talking about devil's breath hot. Your balls can stick to your legs like gum hot. And you have to go to work 5 days a week. 5. But at the same time, you now need to figure out when you're gonna go to the laundromat. When you gonna find time to go to the laundromat? I'm gonna do it on my days off, but I kind of need the overtime. And then the one day that you're finally free, a random little thing might happen, or you oversleep, or that you forget. How many of us has done this? Okay, I'll do the laundry on this day. It'll be this day I get it done. I got it marked on my calendar. And then you get up that day, and you know what you didn't notice on that calendar? It was a holiday. Now you're sitting there, you got to go to work the next week, and you doing the sniff test, seeing if it passes for you to be able to go to work. It's a trap. You don't have the time. Not to even to do all the things that you want to do. Most people don't need a plan. A plan. What they need is something else. What they need are systems. And unfortunately, the system that we're using is a system that's trying to also go up against us. Budgeting fails the moment it fails the moment life stops basically being predictable. And the idea that anyone thinks that life should be predictable is crazy. You can't even predict when the weather is going to be the same. Life has never been predictable. And I think the issue isn't that people don't plan. I think some people try. I think the problem is that people don't plan people don't plan for surprises. They don't plan for surprise bills. They think that those things are rare. They think that, well, I've been walking across this street 30 times. I'm not gonna get hit on the 31st. But it can. You know what? And maybe you just dodged that car on the 31st and you didn't get hit by it. But in the midst of that, you hopped out the way and you sprained your ankle. Now you got a whole new thing. You still got to, now you probably still got to go to the doctor for that. Still got to spend money to take care of that swollen ankle. You know how long a swollen ankle take? Minimum 2 weeks. These things that we look at as being surprise bills, here's the thing. They're not rare. They're not rare. A random bill category. That's not rare. It happens. It's you could even throw it in the category of being pessimism, but it's real. It happens. The motherfucker tried to go live on the slick. I tried. I see you ain't show up till now, so it worked. It worked. You said I'm poor. You poor? I'm using a manual dishwasher. Using a manual dishwasher. I'm using a manual washing machine as a black and decker. Listen, you got to do what you got to do, Zoomer. You got to do what you got to do. Not for nothing. We listen. We go back to the days. We go back to the days where we had to use like little like hand blow torches for grilled cheese. For grilled cheese, smelling like the whole little propane fluid. Have the outside of your grilled cheese smelling like that. It's crazy, but we did it. Nope. There's no gas in the house, so you have to take water and you have to put it in the microwave to heat it up, and then you have to take that. It's hot and everything, and you have to pour that into your oatmeal because you didn't have the gas to just heat up water. Thank God the electricity was still on, huh? Thank God that was still working. Now, I mean, this is back in the days where you didn't have ramen back then, but you still had cup of noodles, and I wasn't really a fan. But it is what it is. That's just the way it was. A lot of people struggle in a lot of different ways. And a lot of us who even look at the struggle now, it looks vastly different from those that came before. There are people now, especially my 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 Z's and I guess alphas, that their ideal struggle looks way different than our ideal struggles because I'm like, you can eat ramen? You you're talking about eating on the dollar menu? Oh, wait, first of all, I haven't been to, sorry, first of all, I haven't been to McDonald's in like 15 years. Is there still a dollar menu? Or do they call it something else? I think my girl told me they call it what, a variety menu now. It's not even called a dollar menu now. What's it called now in McDonald's? I got a McDonald's that I've been walking past for the past 9 years, 8 years, and I've never stepped in that bitch. And I'm talking about they took down the old one, they rebuilt the son of a bitch, and I was never in the old one day, and I never been in the new one now. I don't even know what you call those menus anymore. All I know is that the idea of a meal is over $20. That's crazy. Do you know what I can cook for less than 20 bucks? I can cook a lot of food for less than 20 bucks. And food is expensive to buy. But it ain't gonna be no pink slop. It ain't gonna be no high blood pressure. I ain't gonna have no sweet and sour guts. Balsamic rice is great. Balsamic rice is great. I keep all kind. I keep balsamic. I keep white. I keep white. I keep wild rice. I keep brown rice. I have a bunch of different rice. The only thing I don't keep is quinoa because I I hate that shit in my teeth. I hate that shit. Just thinking about it, I'm already like licking the inside of my teeth. Like I hate quinoa in between my teeth. Outside of that, I got all types of rice. I don't mind the taste of quinoa. I just can't stand the graininess of it. So as I'm thinking about all this stuff, I'm thinking about what actually helps, right? What is the thing that we can do to reduce our exposure? How can we optimize the potential to move forward? Because here's my thing. Even though I kind of gave a little bit of something, I don't think you savers are gonna take that strategy. To me, it's one of the best strategies and a gamble, but it's one of the best strategies. I'm not gonna lie. I benefit from it, and I benefit from it twice. Now, just because I wouldn't suggest that you do. But I don't think a lot of people. I'm just gonna keep it a buck for you. I don't think a lot of people has even offered that to you as an alternative, and it does require for you to have a bit of courage, and research and savings to get it done. But we're talking about being intentional and also paying attention to an opportunity. So what actually helps? Ooh, I think most people I think most people don't need a perfect budget. Let me just say that right now. I don't think most people need a perfect budget. I think that they need some sort of stability. They need shock absorbers in their life. I think they need to buffer first, and I think they need to optimize what really they need, prioritizing their needs over their wants. Now, I think prioritizing your needs over your wants is what's going to give you that slack that you need, because most people are running around thinking that they don't have any slack, and it's kind of true. Just when they think they have a time to breathe, something pops up or something that they forgot about they have to pay for. And I think if you optimize your needs over your wants, and I know you really want your wants, and sometimes that means you have to cut everything off. Minus your lights, your gas. Don't be extreme. Keep your lights and your gas on. But I think you need to get rid of all your other apps and then start slowly over time getting it back. And I know, no, wrestler, I can't, I can't. You can't what? I I can't I can't give up my YouTube premium. I hate all of the ads. I'm pretty sure 2 months, 3 months dealing with skippable ads is going to be all right. If you think, first of all, most of you don't watch Twitch, don't watch Kick. If you think the YouTube ads are bad, go go to Kick, go to Twitch, because you can't even skip them. And they're long, and they're not one or two ads. They're like 4 or 5 ads. Those platforms make sure they get their revenue. I don't think you understand just how good you have it. I'm just saying. So it might be something you need to consider. Now I know what you're thinking: 12.99, 13.99, whatever whatever the hell the cost of it is. That's not a lot of it's not a lot of money. I'm not gonna miss it. Let's go back to what I said earlier. Remember the little subscription that was like 9.99 that you let slack for 12 months? What do you think is gonna happen? Think about how much now that you're paying for your other subscriptions that add up over a year. Don't you think you can use that extra bit of money? Something to think about. Just something to think about. We're talking about building a little bit of, and by the way, we're not talking about just we're never gonna go back to them, but you have to build yourself some slack, which means that you also need to tighten the belt on other things. You can't have slack on other things. You can't put yourself in a position where unexpected shit drowns you. The fact that you're telling yourself, I can't pay $200, I gotta wait for my whole next check to pay a $200 bill that came up. It's crazy. The goal isn't to track every penny, by the way. It's not that. But it's to reduce how often life tries to punch you in the mouth. You said my first time buying YouTube Premium was 60 days. I think it's 18 bucks. Nah, YouTube Premium is not 18 bucks. Nah. Not for me. See, it might be for you, because I've been a YouTube Premium person for a while. In fact, I'll look it up right now. What was my YouTube Premium? I'll look at it right now. Because it should be one of my reoccurring things that's going to show up. Go to my cards. Let's see. Expected transactions. YouTube Premium. Let me make sure this is right. Expected transactions. Hold up. $13.99. $13.99 is my current. Don't know what it is for you. My current is $13.99 a month. Imagine it comes 50 bucks. Well, I'm hoping when that comes, I'll never think about it. I'll never have to worry about it. Just putting it out there. 50 bucks is wild. And 50 bucks a month? It's crazy. Now, if they want to do like a whole 50 bucks annual, yeah, it's same thing, Stephanie. It's basically 14 bucks. Basically 14 bucks. Now, if they want to do an annual shit, like, hey, 50 bucks annual, I might rock with that. But that's not what they want to offer you. So, again, we're talking about just surviving, building up for the future. And I think a lot of people just don't want to go that far. Or rather, they don't want to think that far, or rather, they haven't thought that far because a lot of people, the majority of us, are not financially savvy. I'm putting myself in that category too. Some of us get lucky, we happen upon money, or some of us we get lucky, or some of us we landed the job. I think I almost said dream job, but that's not true. We landed the job that takes care of a lot of our incomes, whether we love it or hate it. But that's not the majority of people. The majority of people are living classic, stationary, at will termination, very replaceable, expendable jobs. And there's something in there. There's something in there because there's some people that like to talk about, like, no shame and no excuses. And I have to wonder about that because some people overspend because they're reckless. Let's just put that out there. Some people overspend because they're reckless, but some people overspend because they're exhausted and trying to feel freaking normal for 5 minutes. They'll make those purchases. They just don't want to feel. They don't want to lose their mind. They don't want to be stressed and feel like they want to have a nervous breakdown in Target. And so they spend the money. Sometimes they say, I just need to treat myself. And by the way, I agree. You should always treat yourself and not cheat yourself. But everything is done in moderation. Everything. Mascara therapy. I've seen it. I've seen breakdowns. I've seen that mascara just running down, just losing their mind. I can't no more. I can't. Holding their phone in their hand because they probably just saw their bank statements or whatever. I've seen that, Stephanie. I've seen it. And you're just looking at them and you're going, I don't. Hey, Resla, will you just give her a minute. Give her a minute. She needs a minute. I get it. She needs a minute. There's nothing we can do for her. You ain't gonna do nothing to change that bank account. Just hold off, Tony. Hold off. Just give her a minute. And you just let because like you gotta I say hold off because you don't even know if this is gonna be the person that they're just gonna collect themselves and say they're sorry and they're gonna leave, or these are the people that are gonna lose their fucking mind and they're like, I'm gonna burn this whole bitch down. I'm gonna take down Starbucks. I'm gonna light up Starbucks. I'm gonna light up the whole kids department. I've assessed those kind of stores where I'm just like, just just be ready to call NYPD. We're gonna see how this turns out. Hey, hi there. I know it sucks. It really sucks. I understand. I'm broke too. I'm broke too. Hey, let me help you off. Let me help you off your feet. I listen, Stephanie. I've had some of these ladies cry, like wetting up my freak. Like just one big spot. You would think a little baby spit on me, just wet up my whole shirt right here, just crying. I'm just like, and somebody's like, "Yo, wrestler, you want me to take that off your hand?" I'm like, no, I think she needs this. I'm just like, yeah, no, there. I get it. Yeah, it's like, I think she needs this. Yeah. Oh shit, it's really wet here. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, we all go through hard times. I get it. I get it. Oh my gosh. I get. Can I need her gone. I need her gone. But I get it. It's rough. Some people just want to feel human, and know so many of us like so many people just don't want to struggle no more. Some people just feel like they just keep catching L's. And like 5 minutes late to work. Oh my gosh! Now you're 5 minutes late to work. Is crazy. It's rough. I've seen women break down over baby formula. I've seen a guy damage his phone over butter being expensive. I've seen a lot of weird. It's most of the small items that just that it's literally it's the how they say it's the straw that breaks the camel's back. It's normally the small things that just send someone over the edge. It's not like I just couldn't afford, my carburetor. I couldn't afford this vacuum cleaner. I couldn't afford like it's the small things that just be like it's always the small things. It's like it's just butter. It's just hey, I thought this coupon would work, but it expired and they just crashed the fuck out. Whoa, whoa. It's just I've seen a lot of things when I used to work in the retail space. It was a lot. It was a lot. And then like you said, they're late for work. They're late for work. Don't stop at Target or something like that when you're on the way to work. Don't do that. Even though there's a Target that I'm at and it has a Starbucks inside of it, so people they order it and they go to. It's like, oh my gosh, they're about to crash the fuck out. But it it's a lot. It's a lot for a lot of people, and I think it helps for people to know that there's people like them out there. But honestly, that doesn't help. Hey, I know how you feel. Never helps. It never helps. And like I said, people just they wanna feel normal, they wanna be able to spend their money, and they don't wanna feel like the world is just most of all, that the world's a burden, but also that they're not a burden as well. I don't think most people wanna sit there and think that they're a burden, even when the world is not being nice. I almost said fair, but the world is not fair. And by the way, that doesn't make it, how do I wanna say that? It it doesn't make it smart, but it also doesn't make it less human to feel that way. It doesn't. And on the flip side, to be honest with you, some people who are savers aren't all that disciplined. Let me tell you that they're not disciplined What they are, they're scared. They're scared. They have the money, but they don't want to spend the money. They have enough money, but they don't want to spend it because they're afraid of something that's going to happen. So they don't take care of themselves. They don't make themselves feel good. They don't treat themselves because they're so afraid of the unexpected. Both of these people, both of these things are true at the same time. Both of them are dealing with instability. It, it's crazy, but it's not crazy because there are so many people like this. There are so many people like us that live in the world. And instead of us saying, well, that's just the way it is, or some of us just saying we got to blame the government or we got to blame baby mama, baby daddy because they spend too much, or we got to blame those damn kids, or we got to blame the house or the car, or whatever. How about we say this? We just need to invest a little bit more into ourselves, into our sanity, but also into our knowledge so that we can get a little bit further. Because the only way we can break out of the system that we've put ourselves through is to learn new systems, new tools in order to get out of it. Not having new information is going to be the same as how we're going to run the definition of insanity. You're going to keep doing the same thing over and over again, but you're expecting change. You need to learn something new in order to incorporate new things in your life. If the norm for you is consistently being exposed, even doing everything right, by the way, and you're still feeling down, that's why this conversation that we're having makes people feel mad. Because it's easier to shame spenders than it is to admit that on the baseline, everybody's being crushed. It's easier to blame the system than admit that despite all that you're saving, you're still leaking money. But the truth is the truth. What do you want to do about it? What are you going to do to make make a new transition in your life and make things easier for yourself? What do you plan to do? I can't give it to you, even though I kind of given a little bit of extreme example that worked for me a couple of times. But for many of you, you're probably not even able to put yourself in a position to be able to do that. So the question is, what do you think will work for you? Because throwing your hands up in the air, waving it like you don't care, ain't working for you. Screaming and crashing out in your car and saying, Jesus, take the wheel, is not happening. You driving, and yes, to some of you moms, I know you won't admit it, but I'll just say it for you. Knowing that your tank is nearly on E, you got nearly nothing in your freaking bank account. And even though you know you just put the kids in school, you're thinking about driving your car into the back of that semi. Pressure is real. I don't suggest that you do it, but I'm suggesting that you take a new route. Take a new route. Sometimes it means that you're going to have to make a sacrifice that you didn't want to make, which means that you're not going to be able to live a great life, but you'll be able to set up your family in the future. If you're willing to say that you're willing to be selfless enough to care about the unknown future. And that's a hard place for a lot of people to get to say that I'm going to bet on people who I haven't met yet, but hoping that they're going to do right. And that's the thing about it. Like when I think about how the Rockefellers built themselves up, They don't know how these little bastards are going to turn out, but they put plans in place, kind of like the forefathers of our country, to make sure that the rules stayed in place, that even if you want to live a good life, even if you want opportunities, you have to abide by these particular criterias, because these are the only ways that you're going to be able to hold on to your liberties. So I'm also asking this: if you guys happen to be the people that's sitting in the groundwork and you don't really have a lot of stuff from people that came before you, are you willing to become a founding father, or I should say founding mother? Are you willing to do that for your namesake and dynamics moving in the future, even if you don't know who they're going to become? Because what have we learned already? Giving shit over to your kids when they're desperate causes them to make desperate actions, like selling your house, selling your car. So how do you put them in a situation, or rather, how do you put your grandchildren in a situation so that when your kids are dealing with them and they're older, they're not doing the same thing that your kids did to you, that you've probably done to your parents? Let's now talk about that generational trauma, which can probably be done on another day. We're not going to do that today, because I'm here. I just want to talk about the trappings of living paycheck to paycheck. Not saying that we all got it, not saying that we'll all get it, and not saying that we're all going to have it together, but it is something only to think about. And that's pretty much it. That's I pretty much don't have anything else to say outside of that. I was just thinking about it. There are so many different type of people that just have so many different types of struggles. But regardless of where you are, the trapping is still the same. What are we going to get out of it? And I say that for myself, also as a person who's also a part of the same race, the same trap. Some of you are in a better position than others. Some of you are in a way better position than others. And you're still not doing anything. And you're waiting for life to happen to you rather than you doing something about life. Some of you guys you just need a little bit of information, a little bit of coaching, and you'll take off. I'm hoping that maybe I even said something today that will make you think a little bit more about where you are, your current standings, and maybe you can leverage an opportunity with something that you didn't know, or someone that you didn't know who can point you in the right direction that will take you off. Outside of that, there's nothing else I need to say. Something for all of us to think about. I'm just spitting here with y'all guys in real time. This is just on my mind as I sit and I hear people talk about how much they want for themselves and how much they're not getting anything, and at the same time not really having any concrete plans. Because let's be honest, folks, the plan used to be to go to school. We understand now that plan is no longer there. College ain't it. Working a job for most of your life ain't it. So what are we doing here? What are we doing here? With that being said, it's early in the day. I have submitted my time to you. I'm going to think a little bit about the poll that I just put a post on, because that's something I think that we're going to have to talk about tomorrow. And with that being said, it's early enough in the day. I'm going to give the time back to you, whatever time you have left of your day. And with that being said, take care of yourselves, take care of your family, and I'll see you, all of you, hopefully, on the next one. Later, y'all.